In the year 1258, one of the greatest cities in the world faced its darkest day. Baghdad, the heart of knowledge, culture, and power, had stood proudly for centuries. Its libraries held the wisdom of the ancient world, and its streets were filled with scholars, merchants, and travelers from distant lands. But on the horizon, a terrifying force was approaching, the Mongol Empire. And within days, everything would change. For centuries, Baghdad was one of the most magnificent cities on earth. As the capital of the Abbasid Caliphate, it was a center of science, trade, and learning. Scholars gathered in its famous libraries to study mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. Merchants filled its markets with goods from Asia, Africa, and Europe. Baghdad was not just a city, it was the beating heart of an empire. But far to the east, a new power had begun to rise. The Mongol Empire, founded by the legendary warrior Genghis Khan, had already conquered vast lands across Asia. After his death, his descendants continued expanding the empire with unstoppable force. Cities that resisted the Mongols were often completely destroyed. By the mid-13th century, the Mongol armies had become one of the most feared military forces in the world. And now, their leader Hulagu Khan had set his sights on Baghdad. Hulagu Khan sent a message to the Caliph of Baghdad. The demand was simple: surrender the city peacefully or face destruction. But the Caliph believed Baghdad's massive walls and powerful reputation would protect it. He refused to submit. It was a decision that would seal the city's fate. In January 1258, the Mongol army arrived at the gates of Baghdad. Tens of thousands of soldiers surrounded the city. Powerful siege machines and giant catapults were prepared for attack. Soon, flaming projectiles began crashing into the city walls. Day and night, the bombardment continued. The defenses of Baghdad began to crumble, and within days, the Mongol army broke through. Once the Mongols entered the city, chaos spread through the streets. Buildings burned as fires spread across the skyline. The once magnificent markets and palaces were reduced to ruins. For days, the city was overwhelmed by destruction. One of the greatest tragedies was the destruction of Baghdad's libraries. Ancient books and priceless manuscripts, collected over centuries, were lost forever. A city that had once symbolized knowledge and civilization was now falling into darkness. The fall of Baghdad marked the end of the Abbasid Caliphate's power. A civilization that had shaped the intellectual world for centuries was suddenly shattered. The Mongol conquest changed the history of the Middle East forever, and the legendary city of Baghdad would never be the same again. The Siege of Baghdad in 1258 remains one of the most devastating events in medieval history. It was not just the fall of a city, it was the end of an era, a moment when one of the greatest centers of knowledge in the world was lost to war. And history would remember it as the day Baghdad fell.